Hello, my dear students. Hope everyone is doing well. In today's math session, we will be learning what is an inscribed angle, what is an intercepted arc, inscribed angle theorem, and also we will be seeing its corollaries, and we will see what is a cyclic quadrilateral and what are the various properties which are related to this cyclic quadrilateral. So let's start seeing them one by one. Firstly, let's see what is meant by an inscribed angle. Now, in the last lecture, we have seen what is meant by a central angle. What is a central angle? Its vertex lies on the center of the circle. Now, in the inscribed angle, there will be a change. In an inscribed angle, the vertex of that particular angle, it will be lying on the circle. What is the difference? In the central angle, the center will be on the the vertex will be on the center of the circle, and here in the inscribed angle, the vertex will be lying on the circle, on the surface of the circle. Now let's see, in figure 3.42, C is the center of the circle. Then vertex D of angle PQD is lying on the circle, and the arms of this angle are touching the circle at points A and point T. Okay, such an angle is called as an angle inscribed in the circle or in the arc PQ. Okay, so what you will be terming? Angle PQD is firstly an inscribed angle, and it is inscribed in the circle, or you can say angle PQD is inscribed in the arc AB. Okay, you can term it as it is inscribed in an arc AB. Now, here angle ADB is inscribed in the arc ADB. Okay, so that's it. What is an inscribed angle? Its vertex is supposed to be lying on the circle. Then, let's see what is an intercepted arc. The previous one was inscribed angle, and this one is the intercepted arc. Now children, here we have a set of figures. Now, what is it? Let's see. The arc of a circle that lies in the interior of the angle ABC is an arc intercepted by the angle ABC. Now see children, the arc which is lying in the interior of the angle. Now see, in the interior means what? Within the angle. So this arc AC. Now here you can take this arc BC. It is lying in the interior. AC again, AC again, AC again. Now here also AC again. So what are this? These are the arcs which are intercepted by the angle, or you can say by the inscribed angle. The points of intersection of the circle and the angle are endpoints of that intercepted arc. Now if you are able to see, the points where the angle meets the circle, okay, then that will be the end point of the arc. Okay, so whatever arc is there, its end point will be the point where the angle is meeting the circle. Then each side of the angle has to contain an end point of the arc. See, you can't take a random point as the end of a arc. Okay, compulsorily the point where this arm of the angle touches the circle, that has to be the end point of the arc. Then now in first three figures, like take the first, second and third figure, only one intercepted arc is there. Like see, intercepted arc has to lie in the interior of the angles. So in the interior we have this arc AC. Here also we have this arc BC. Then here we have AC. But that only when you move towards this fourth, fifth and sixth image or figure, you are having two arcs. One is this, one is this. Here one, this will be 2. 1, 2. Okay, both are in the interior of the angle. So when see what is the difference when the angle is lying on this, the vertex is lying on the circle or in the interior, you are going to get only one intercepted arc. But when the vertex of the angle lies outside the circle, you are supposed to get two intercepted arcs. Okay, and intercepted arcs has to lie within the interior of the angle. So now after that, let's see the theorems which are related to it. Now first one is inscribed angle theorem. Now what is an inscribed angle? Inscribed angle is an angle whose vertex lies on the circle. So here we are able to clearly see angle BAC is an inscribed angle. Why? Because its vertex A lies on the circle. So it is an inscribed angle. Then what is the theorem? The measure of an inscribed angle, okay, is half of the measure of the arc intercepted by it. Now very important theorems, like see what they are saying. Firstly, measure of the inscribed angle. Now who is the inscribed angle? We have inscribed angle as BAC, and it is measure of this inscribed angle BAC. They are saying that it should be half of the measure. So firstly we will write half of the measure of the arc intercepted by it. Now which is the arc which is lying in the interior of this angle BAC? It is arc nothing but BDC. So it should be half of measure arc BDC. So this is the inscribed angle theorem. So suppose this arc BDC, this whole part, suppose it is 80 degree. That what does it mean? That means that angle BAC should be 40 degree. So what is the inscribed angle theorem? The measure of the inscribed angle will be half of the measure of the intercepted arc. After that, one more case. Same statement. Now what is the case over here? Like see, the measure of an angle subtended by an arc at a point on the circle is the half of the measure of the angle subtended by the arc at the center. Okay, now see what it says, that the measure of an angle subtended by an arc at a point on the circle. Now suppose you are taking an arc and suppose it is making an angle BAC at the point on the circle, then its measure will be half of the measure of the angle subtended by the arc at the center. Now see, if you measure its this angle, then too even this angle will be half of the measure BC. Okay, so that is what, wherever might be the location, or whether the center is lying in the interior of the angle or it is lying in the exterior of the angle, what is the thing? The measure of an inscribed angle will be half of the intercepted arc. Then let's see what are the corollaries which are related to the inscribed angle theorem. Corollaries means what? The extra properties which are related to the inscribed angle. Now let's see the first one. The angles inscribed in the same arc are congruent. Now angles, that is two angles are there here, if you are able to see, angle PQR and PSR. These two are the angles which are subtended in the same arc, that is arc PTR. Then what you have to prove? That this angle PQR and this angle PSR, these two are same. That we are supposed to prove. Okay. Now already we have seen in the inscribed angle theorem. Okay, what does it says? That angle PQR, if I want measure angle PQR, it should be half of measure arc PTR or PR, in which it is subtended, and same is applicable for this measure angle PSR. Even it should be half of the intercepted arc, that is arc PR. Why? Why? Because it is also subtended in the arc PR. So what will happen if you compare the right hand side of both the equations? Okay, it is same. So that means what? Therefore measure angle PQR is same as measure angle PSR. So whenever you see such kind of figure in the practice set, so what property you have to use? The angles which are inscribed in the same arc. Okay, you see the endpoints, or the both the angles are meeting the circle at the same points. So in such cases, you will be using the property that angles inscribed in them are going to be congruent or they are going to be same. Then let's see the next corollary. The angle inscribed in a semicircle is a right angle. Now again, everyone knows what is the measure of a semicircle. It is 180 degree. And we know that an inscribed angle will be having a measure equal to half of its arc. Now here let's talk about angle ABC. So it is an inscribed angle. It should be half of arc AXM. It should be half of measure arc AXC. Okay, why? Now see children, AXC is a semicircle. So what will be its measure? It will be 180 degree as it is a semicircle. So half of 180 is 90 degree. So inscribed angle which is inscribed in a semicircle, it will be always a right angle or always it will be having a measure of 90 degree. This second corollary also we have proved. Then let's see what is meant by a cyclic quadrilateral. Now, if all the vertices of a quadrilateral, now firstly what is meant by a quadrilateral? Quadrilateral is a figure with four sides. Okay, what is a quadrilateral? It is a figure with four sides. So, if all the vertices of a cyclic quadrilateral, if it is lying on the circle, see 1, 2, 3 and 4, all its vertices are lying exactly on the circle. So it will be called as a cyclic quadrilateral. Compulsorily all its vertices has to lie on the circle. Then and only then it will be called as a cyclic quadrilateral. Then let's see what is the theorem which is related to the cyclic quadrilateral. Now for any cyclic quadrilateral, its opposite angles are supplementary. That is, whenever you add the value or the measures of the two opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral, it should be equals to compulsorily 180 degree. Now let's check this. Here we have a cyclic quadrilateral ABCD. So let's write quadrilateral ABCD is cyclic. Now what you have to prove? If you are adding the opposite angles, that angle B plus D, so it should be 180 degree, and here C plus A, angle A plus angle C, it should also be 180 degree. Now arc ABC is intercepted by inscribed angle ADC. Therefore, what should be the value of this angle ADC? It should be half of this arc ABC. So we will write here arc ABC. Why? Because this angle ADC is in this arc ABC. Similarly, now what else we can have? Which more angle is inscribed? Which more is an inscribed angle? It intercepts arc ADC. Now which more angle we have? We have this as angle ABC. So let's write angle ABC is an inscribed angle. Okay. Now let's start. Therefore, what will happen? Angle ABC, it will also become half of measure arc ADC. Now measure angle ADC plus measure angle. Now here what we are supposed to take? ABC. That will be half of measure arc. Let's see what we had. ADC. Okay. It will be half of measure arc ADC. Sorry, this was ABC. Let's clear it. Half of measure arc ABC plus half of measure arc ADC. Now see, half we can take common. Here you can take measure arc ABC. Now what you are supposed to get, if you add this arc ABC and ADC, you are going to get a complete circle which is nothing but 360 degree. Okay. So addition of this two will be as 360 degree, and half of 360 is 180 degree. So what did we prove? That measure angle ADC plus measure angle ABC, it is nothing but 180 degree. Similarly, you can prove that addition of angle A plus angle C is nothing but 180 degree. This is what? Angle D plus angle B. You have proved that it is 180 degree. Now similarly, angle A plus angle C, that will also be 180 degree. That is what we have easily proved, that opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral are like supplementary. Their addition is supposed to be 180 degree. Then let's see the corollary of the cyclic quadrilateral theorem. Now see, an exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is congruent to the angle opposite to its adjacent interior angle. Now children, suppose we extend this side outside. So what will happen? You will get an angle over here. So this will be the exterior angle of the cyclic quadrilateral. Now this angle will be equal or congruent. Now who is adjacent to this exterior angle? This angle. And who is opposite to this angle? Opposite means this one. Okay. So what they want to say, that the exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral, it will be congruent to the angle opposite to the adjacent angle. Okay. So this and this angles are going to be same. It is applicable everywhere. You can extend any side of the cyclic quadrilateral and you can prove it correct, that every exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral, it will be equal to the angle which is opposite to its adjacent angle. Now this was the corollary. Now, so related to this corollary, we have a converse. If a pair of opposite angles of a opposite angles of a quadrilateral is supplementary, then the quadrilateral is cyclic. Suppose children, you have been provided with any quadrilateral, okay, and in this quadrilateral, if you are getting addition of the opposite two angles equals to 180 degree, then anyways that quadrilateral has to be cyclic, even though if it is not given in the question. But if the addition of opposite angles you are getting equal to 180 degree, then it is supposed to be cyclic. Then one more important property, if two points on a given line subtend equal angles at two distinct points which lie on the same side of the line, then the 4 points are concyclic. Okay. Now see what it is. We are having a line. How this figure has been constructed, see, and on the same side of this line, either you take it above, both points should be either above or below. So here already above it is there, I will take 2 points below. Now here you are having 2 points A and D and you have taken 2 points below. Now suppose you are joining these 2 points, like suppose I am taking it as ABD and we are taking it as DCA. These two angles whichever are formed, okay. So what it is, see, if 2 points on a given line subtend equal angles at two distinct points, if these two angles are equal, then the 4 points are concyclic. Then what you can say, the 4 points, that is A, B, C, D, these are concyclic, that is they lie on the circle, okay, on the same circle. So here what you have to check, firstly the 2 points should be on the same side of the line, then either above or below or to the left or to the right, both should be on the same side. Then if these two angles are same, then these 4 points are concyclic. So whenever you get a question of proving the 4 points to be concyclic, then you have to use this property. Then next is, if two chords, this is also important property, like based on each property we are having sums in the practice set. So what it is, firstly here, more than the statement, you have to focus on the figure. So when you see such kind of figure where in the circle you are able to see the x, you have to go for this property. Now see, if two chords of the circle intersect in the interior of the circle, then the measure of the angle between them, that is this angles, is half the sum of measure of the arcs intercepted by the angle and its opposite angle. Now in a very simple manner I will tell you. Here you have, suppose you want the measure of this angle AEC. It will be half of addition of arc AC plus BD. And if you want the measure of our angle DEB, it will be half of addition of DB and AC. Okay. See, like it depends which angle you want. So like see, AEC we wanted, so it will be half of measure AC plus half of measure BD, opposite, okay. And if you want angle CEB, it will be half of measure arc CB plus measure arc AD. That's it, okay. So whenever you are seeing an arc, you have to use this property, or whenever you are able to see an X into the circle, you have to go with this property. Then for angle BED, now see what is a change in the figure. The point E is lying in the exterior, okay, and you have got two arcs. One is this and one is this. Now when you want the value of angle BED, here you have to take the difference, okay. In the last case we took the addition. Now here we are going to take the difference of half of arc BD minus half of arc AC. So that will be nothing but value of angle BED. Suppose this arc is 60 and this is 20. So angle BED will be 60 minus 20, 40 degree. So this is also important. Now I hope children everyone has got today's session very nicely. If there is any query or if there is any doubt, please drop it into the comment section and surely that will be solved out. Thank you.